Good morning. Could this be the worst lighting on the planet? Yes, but here we are. It's a couple of minutes before the gotta pop on here when I can because I've got a parent-teacher conference in just a couple of minutes with my little guy. So here we are for coffee talk on a beautiful, partly cloudy start to our morning. Let's look outside live. Of course, I've got the model still pulled up from the last time I ran coffee talk off the Wesh computer. All right, there we go. Hey, they got to the station, got to the parking lot here just a couple of minutes ago. So running a little behind, but we're gonna be fine. We're gonna do the things. Port Canaveral, you are looking lovely. Let's head up to Ocala, where I've been watching just a little bit of fog. You could see it there in the distance. Yeah, little bit of patchy fog across the area. Not too bad. Here's a look at the visibility numbers around Central Florida, and not enough for like dense fog advisories or anything like that, but there are little pockets of fog around. You can see Wildwood's shy of 6 mile visibility. Ocala is at about a visibility again. When you get below 1 mile, that's really when you start to deal with action. That said, those ceilings are low in places like Ocala, Leesburg, and even DeLand. So for the pilots, that's IFR conditions. For the rest of us, low clouds, not a huge issue. So anyway, we've got some low clouds trying to settle in. Otherwise, it's a fairly nice morning. First warning live Doppler radar. Scanning the skies, we of course have a few showers off the shoreline. See them kind of bubbling up just a little bit there. You can see in Volusia County, even up to Flagler County eventually. Also, it is like lovely outside. These temperatures are awesome. 68 in Orlando, 66 in Leesburg, 66 in Ocala. Looks great, feels great. Forecast today, keeping great. A couple of showers around. A nice breeze, 15, 20, 25 miles an hour. That's going to be nice. I mean, seriously, that's going to be nice. Another great day to go play. Taylor says early again. Morning, y'all. I'm sorry, parent-teacher conference. I always say real life is more important, right? And in this case, like, I got to live that. So anyway, here we are doing the things when we can because real life's more important. I would add, I'll be back home for tracking the tropics at 10, and certainly you'll want to join us for that. But in the meantime, mix of clouds and sunshine today. 30% coverage of passing showers. So we are going to have a little bit of rain to deal with today, right? We'll have the clouds. We'll have comfortable temperatures in the mid 80s. Here is a look at our futurecast model. And you know what? Starting off lovely, a little bit of that fog around. Look at 1 o'clock, right? Just a couple of these passing little showers here or there. Not too bad, but we'll have showers from time to time. 2, 3 o'clock, kind of taking us into the afternoon, little pockets, little waves of rain around, and then continuing through tonight. So, yeah, there's going to be some clouds. There's going to be some showers. It's not going to be a bad day by any stretch of the imagination. But rain chances are going to be elevated just a little bit today versus, say, like the next couple of days. So there we are. All right. So we're looking good. I would add that looking down the pike even more. Let me do this. Hold on a second. Let me come over here. Meteograms. MCO. That's the Orlando International Airport. I would just add, looking further down the way here, look at where the models are taking us, say November 10th, 11th, 12th. They're hinting at a cold front. Now you look all the way to the 4th, and it's getting like a high of 64. Don't pay much attention to that. But, you know, we're trending at least in the right direction here on the raw models. Now, of course, that's raw model data. It is guidance, not gospel. So don't take it as anything other than that. But it's at least showing us that we are heading in the right direction. So Central Florida's certified most accurate 7-day forecast showing, yeah, a couple of showers here or there today. Tomorrow looking lovely. High temperatures through the entire 7-day stretch in the mid 80s. Morning lows mid to upper 60s. But for Halloween, why do I keep almost calling it Thanksgiving? I don't know. Halloween looking great. High temperature in the mid range of the 80s, right? That's fine. And then Saturday, Sunday, fall back. Yeah, it's looking really, really nice. Sleep. Now that I don't work Sundays, I can actually celebrate that. I feel like for the longest time it was just a thorn in my side, but now here we are. Just a reminder, new times for it. Okay, daylight saving time ends this weekend, so the new sunrise Sunday morning and Monday morning, ooh, spooky, 6:39 a.m. sunrise. That means that the kids won't be dark at the bus stop, which is clearly a good idea. And then sunset, 5:38 p.m. I've got the projection mapping on at my house, and so it'll be nice to not have to do that super late like I do for Halloween. So come Christmas time, it'll be better. All right. All right. Questions about our local forecast before we move on to the tropics. I know I'm going to do a little bit of an abbreviated coffee talk today, but like I said, and maybe you didn't see our teacher conference here at the school, and so I kind of I have to be in the classroom at 8 a.m. today. Okay, all right. Talking tropics. Let's talk a little bit about the tropics. Report that while there is something to track, thankfully, it's not a mega concern, okay? First off, looking at the Caribbean, there's some areas of moisture. There's an area, though, that has a a medium and 40% chance of developing. Now, that said, Hurricane Center just put out their next update, keeping it fairly consistent. And what we end up with is models not quite agreeing with what to do with this thing. And that's, of course, where it gets to be somewhat frustrating. For you, for me, it's a part of the job and I get it. But for you, like as somebody who wants to know what's going to happen, I can understand there being a subtle level of frustration, right? And that's always one of my goals on Coffee Talk here is to try and get you through the weeds and make sure that you at least understand the data as best you can. You're about the data and you know what to make of it, right? So let's take it through. First off, this is the GFS, the American model. I always start with it. It's not favoritism. It's just whatever it is. So we'll just roll through. It's almost done running the 6Z. So this is going to be, the most recent run. Notice developing something that's Saturday, November 2nd. So it has absolutely started scooting it a little bit later in time. And notice it's over near Hispaniola. Where are you going? You're riding up around Cuba, hanging around the Bahamas through the 8th. What are you doing? Then you're going to get picked up by a cold front. So interesting, right? It's wanting to keep something around through the first couple of days here, the first half really of the month, because that's November 14th. What's particularly interesting to me, if I'm honest, is the fact that the BSR always showed something around the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. So now that the GFS is backing it off a little bit, it's interesting, right? I think that that's a little bit more in line. Let's look at the European. I'm going to, the 6Z doesn't go far enough out for it to do much for us in this case. So we're going to go to the 00Z. The European, the 18Z, and the 6Z don't run far enough out, which I don't understand why we do that, but I guess it's not for me to understand. So there it is, trying to develop something north of Puerto Rico around the 3rd and something in the Caribbean around the 3rd of November. Something's definitely in the Caribbean. That's the 6th of November. I hate to say it, but the euro is definitely more in line with the BSR. Look at you, see the euro hanging out around the Yucatan through the 13th. That agrees with the BSR. So interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Slower, but a completely different trajectory. I would let's look at the ensembles for fun. All right. If you're new to Coffee Talk, the ensembles, think of them as once the model runs, it goes back. Pressure. It's also small on my laptop monitor, so forgive me if I just seem like I'm not as good when I'm on the laptop by itself. It's because it's like teeny weeny little text, and I'm not getting younger. But there you go. So there's the different versions of the GFS. Of course, we can put it all on top of it to give us a clearer picture. And GFS, some of the members are showing some kind of Gulf paths. Some of the members are showing more Atlantic paths. But there's still good ensemble agreement with some formation. So that's why the Hurricane Center is watching it. Let's switch over. Let's look at the European. Ensemble is a clearer picture on what the models are really thinking. It gives us kind of like multiple scenarios, which I personally like. All right, so European has some members going out, but the vast majority of them seem to be more Gulf based or close-ish to Florida based. So somebody said you look worried. I'm not worried at all, but it's just one of those. It's trying to figure out what's going to end up happening. That's my job, right? And it's not a perfect job. It's not a perfect science. And so that's where it gets to be difficult. Saul, is that 2 hurricanes? No, when we look at the ensembles, it's like 30 or 50 different versions of one model trying to figure stuff out. So that's why it kind of looks like that. Yeah. So anyway, listen, we're watching the tropics. Thankfully, nothing has developed right now. We've got time to watch stuff. Not a big worry. So, okay. All right. Questions about that? Questions about anything Halloween? Let's look ahead to Halloween. I know my kids are already excited about it. Comfortable day, nice and mild through the day, but a really nice evening. I'll be handing out the candy. No full-sized candy bars, kids, but I'll give you 2 or 3 fun-sized. Because I bought at Costco. What do you want? I was in there at Costco, and that's what they had. I'm going to go with what Costco had. Because I'm in my... For you Swifties, I guess that you call it, I'm in my Costco era. Like my tennis shoes come from Costco. It's that, Janice says, we're early birds today. We're good with it. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you hanging early. Is this part of the pattern? What does the pattern say? So we're establishing a new pattern. So the month of October and November, even December, pattern recognition becomes very difficult. No Peter Pan costume today. No Peter Pan costume this year. Thank God. No. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? Anything? I would add that, yes, this is a somewhat abbreviated car. I've got a couple more minutes. I want to be out of the car by like 7:50, so I've got about 7 minutes or so. But so we can still chat. But I would just add that, like, we will go in depth after the parent-teacher conference. I'm going to run home, and we will be live at 10 a.m. for Tracking the Tropics. So we'll have that, and it's going to be a full update, everything you could ever dream of with the tropics. We'll go in depth. Jeremy and I will look at the BSR. We'll look at all of that stuff together. So, yeah. All right. Have to dash, have a nursing home call with my mom. Good. Have a good time with that. With it, Murray. All right. So in the meantime, we're looking pretty good here in Central Florida. I can't complain. I like the comfortable temperatures. Right? All right. All right. Listen, sorry to have to run and be a little quickish. Duty calls. All right. Listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you all so much for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I will see you at 10 a.m. for Tracking the Tropics. We'll have a full wrap-up, everything you could imagine about the tropics. We'll look at the BSR together. Jeremy and I will discuss pattern recognition and kind of the trends that we're seeing. We'll look at water temperatures and all that fun stuff. All right? All right. Listen, thank you all so much for hanging out. I will see you in just a couple hours.